sounds for the intro. Sound for the intro. Sounds for the
Ichi,
intro.
ni, san, shi. Everybody, train, karate. Ichi, ni, san, shi. No, sorry.
Oh my god, I can't. Like, okay, what? We gotta do some sort of deep dive into what the hell that was about, and then who was responsible for. I know these people are out there, but I want to know who you are and how much drugs you were on it at that time. If, I want to know how much.
It was the 70s, it looked like. Well, maybe it was the 80s.
It would make sense
like in
it was
that
more
video.
the 80s. I think.
Yeah, they're all on cocaine.
Well, folks, with that in mind, welcome to post training.
Welcome to post.
Yes, Dan, how the hell are you, sir?
Man, I'm all right. It's been a relatively slow week, but it's been a good week. I'm still taking it easy on my shoulder and trying to work more lower body, whole body movement sort of stuff. So classes this week kind of dealt with more sticking, more neutralizing, what we call hua and na in our curriculum. Hua means to transform or to neutralize, and na means to seize. And to do that, you have to stick or adhere, right? So you have to stay stuck to the opponent, and you have to yield. So it's this: if I want to move the cup in a circle, I have to yield, but I can't just yield and let go with this hand, or else the cup falls. So I have to stick and yield like this. This is how it works. So when the opponent comes at you and you stick to the arm, but then as you roll back, you have to actually have forward pressure and backward pressure at the same time, and that allows you to neutralize and yield. So it was a lot of that this week, which was good. It slowed the class down a little bit, but allowed them to focus on some smaller things. And so that's it was good. It was a good week.
How's the shoulder treating you? All right.
It's okay. It's okay. I have full range of motion, but right there it starts to feel a little twingy, so I don't go any further than that. And then I have this sort of motion. This is not 100%. Like if you were to open your car door, like I can't do that. That's where I feel like so I reach over and I so that
right. Gotta get you to talk to Bobby. He was on for when we did the Mortal Kombat podcast, and he's actually really good with that. He had dealt with a worse shoulder issue.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be interesting for you two to talk. He can actually help you out. He's got a little people.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
I'm gonna give it another 4 weeks of doing nothing with it, and then I'll start PT work with some bands and things like that. But it's hard to remember that I have a hurt shoulder because it doesn't hurt. Like now I'm not in any pain, which is lovely because when I first did it, I was in a ton of pain. I couldn't sleep. It was so bad. But now I have no pain. But then when I go to open the car door, I forget. And so I'm like, crap, dang it, you know. So that's annoying. I wish it was in pain because then I would remember.
Fair enough.
But
pain is good to give context for the receptors or whatever.
Exactly. That's why I like that. There are people who have no pain, like they don't feel pain at all, and they're constantly getting hurt. They're constantly breaking their arms, and hyperextending their limbs, and tearing muscles and things like that because they just don't feel pain. So they'll be doing something and their body doesn't know when to stop.
Right.
And yeah, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, I wish that my body would remind me.
All right. So a week of decent handwork and stuff, but nothing too crazy. Have you been getting the squats
Yeah.
in?
Lots of squats. We did we call Kyochidip Jase squats yesterday. And I did them 2 days ago as well. No, 3 days ago, and then yesterday. Kyochidip Jase is the Korean way of saying kosadach, so the cross-legged position.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Like
so you cross your legs.
Like when you're doing, because I can do this because I'm on camera now. Like when you're doing like Niseiki.
Yeah.
So you're just doing that.
Yeah. So what you do? These are the squats. Yeah. So I'll start facing left. You turn into kyosa, and then you drop.
So you're completely coming around. Boom. You're going all the way down.
All the way back up.
Whoa.
All the way down. And then all the way back up.
I gotta integrate that. That's good stuff.
Yeah, those are a lot of fun. See, forgot my arm is hurting, and I picked the chair up. Hey.
Folks, you're seeing in live time Dan hurting himself. All for your benefit and entertainment.
But yeah, those are phenomenal. Yeah.
Shit, man, that's like. Sorry, I just broke the PG-13 rating. Yeah, that's a pretty good workout. I was fortunate to really get back to training. This is one thing I'm really glad we had a third person on last week, because it was like, last week was nothing but stress and life and the terrible things I'm not before layman. But this week was like decent for training. Like I trained at least once every day this week.
That's awesome.
Which is like pretty good for me. Like it feels because you definitely have the weeks where you feel like, damn it, I didn't do anything. And then you have the week where it's like, wow, I did everything.
Right.
I journeyed north yesterday to get a Joe.
Sweet.
What I mean by that is like getting the base materials to make a Joe.
There you go.
I could drop like $80 and like wait 4 days for a Joe. But I could just go up to the hardware store, get a little pull, get some sandpaper. I got me a little makeshift Joe.
Nice. Do you know what kind of wood it is?
Not very. It's what I found was not very good.
Okay.
It was just basically went to the hardware section, and I think it was probably just like balsa or whatever. But it just basically just.
I hope it's not balsa wood. So like this one is ash. But this is like, ash is, they make baseball bats out of it and stuff. Ash is a really cool, really, really good wood, but it's dense. You have to check and make sure that it's got a dense grain. But I got this at a Home Depot or whatever. And it was like a shovel handle or something like that. Yeah, totally.
Sand it down, put a finish. I gotta get a better make of wood. So I didn't want to do a lot of like I want to use two hands, so I'm not making any gestures that could be taken or interpreted in a different way. So just basically what I did, because the origin story of me making weapons is I didn't have a lot of money. And I was like, well, we got a hardware store. There's all this wood there that can be reappropriated into these weapons. Yeah. I can figure out a saw and some sandpaper. Not to denigrate anybody's sale of weapons, because God forbid we get in the way of anybody earning. But that was.
There's definitely something to be said with being free and giving yourself the ability to train things without having to spend a lot of money, because weapons can be very expensive.
Stupidly too. Like there's some
stupidly expensive.
Yeah, for just because people don't want to earn, but then you have this like weird cottage industry of. I don't know when this started, but it was this weird cottage industry of like, well, we're burning down the rainforest, so let's make Kobudo. Like people are making it with like ipe and like all these like exotic Brazilian woods and stuff like that. It's like you realize like you're destroying the earth, so you get like nicer weapons.
Right.
Maybe work with like understand you have a wooden weapon and that eventually
Right.
you'll have to replace it. Having good quality
Yeah.
weapons is one
Yeah.
thing, but because everyone wants a
I've
sword.
broken somebody else's Ipe Bokto. And I felt, like they paid like $80 for it or something like that, and I'm like, well, like, what do you say? Like, that's the worst. But it was just, yeah, I mean, the Ipe was it's so dense that I mean, we, in at least my lineage of Mugai Ryu, they always say we're burning wood when you start doing kumitachi with the swords. And yeah, I mean, I had somebody come and try class. That was probably maybe 5 years ago. We just, and we hit hard, and he just went and cracked. I was like, oh, well,
Yeah.
here's another one. Like, borrow one of mine. Like, that's why the Europeans call them wasters.
Well, like that's why I'm there's certain things like for example like eskrima and stuff. You need stuff that's going to be disposable because you're just constantly hitting it. Like I feel like you're
Yeah.
probably better off. Like there's your training bow and there's your combat like your like stuff you hit stuff with, and then there's I guess your performance or whatever, and then there's your weighted weapons. But
Yeah.
but
Yeah, totally.
I frankly was just like because this came out of I think I talked about this in the podcast a while back was I lived close to Okinawa a while back but I didn't live on Okinawa, and so I called Sharedo in Okinawa. I was like, I would like a bow. I would like to hand you money in exchange for services, and they flat out told me, well, next time you come to Okinawa, just pick it up because we don't feel like going over to the post office and sending it to you. Like not understand. Like just this person was just like, well, yeah, we don't want to scam you out of money. I was like, but capitalism, okay. Like you won't let me buy a bow.
That's funny.
Yeah, so
I
was
respect that, Sharedo.
I kind of do too.
Respect that.
Yeah. I don't know. Shreda's apparently going through some stuff. Oh no, your butt fell out. Can you still hear me? Okay. Yeah.
I hear you. Yeah.
All right.
Those are cool.
Right. Yeah, I mean they're a lot better because this thing is great for doing recordings, but it's terrible for doing like stand up and like walk around stuff. So just using the microphone from here. Don't worry, folks. Who's ever watching, eventually we'll get to the point where we're completely mic'd and have like a multi-camera feed around everybody in all locations. It won't matter where we are in the world or what time it is. We'll be able to have the same sound and audio quality. But until we have that type of technology, this
works.
Yeah. So Dan, I want you to explain to the audience, if you could, for a brief moment, what do chickens and Tai Chi have to do with one another?
So John is confused with one of my recent posts
on the instantaneous gram.
It makes me the Instagrams. It makes me wonder whether John knows what Tai Chi is. What is a Tai Chi? So the Tai Chi, yeah. So the Tai Chi is the what everybody calls the yin yang here in the West. You got the yin yang, right? So the yin and yang symbol is a white and black usually. In Korea, it's blue and red, but it's the same functional principle.
Right.
Well, I have 5 chickens, and 3 of them are silkies. One is black, and 2 of them are white. So and I have a few different pairs of feiyus, which are the Chinese martial arts shoes, and I have a black pair and a white pair. So I put on one black shoe and one white shoe, and then I stood with my chickens, and there was one black chicken and one white chicken. And so I took a picture of my black and white shoes, my Tai Chi shoes, and my Tai Chi chickens. And that's really all that is. It's just me being a big, huge nerd. That's pretty much it, John. It's not any deeper or philosophical than that.
All right, but it's like when you're like just doing like, why the hell does he have chickens? What's this in Tai Chi and chickens? Well, just because I'm the one who, like, I'm like the guy who's asking the questions to the other people who are too afraid to ask. All right, that's all
Dan,
I'm doing.
Why are you such a ridiculous individual? That is the question, and the answer is I don't know. I just am.
I know that. I get that a lot. Sometimes you get in trouble for that, but I don't know.
I am just a ridiculous man.
It's just the game. I had a very odd moment in training this week where I was running, and this is my running gesture. And I was, where I live is fairly rural, and every time I tend to go out and do some training, I never see anybody, but then suddenly someone's like, "I saw you," and I was like, "Oh, really? Where? When? What time?" And I went running, and it was around like 6 o'clock. Wasn't too early, wasn't too late. And I was like, all right, so no poisonous snakes right now. Keep on the lookout for that. This is May, it's rainy season, the snakes come out. And so I went for a run, had a good run, and I'm picking up the pace, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, I see no one. It looks like I'm good. Lo and behold, next day, 4 people come up to me. I saw you running yesterday. Where? And I'm just like starting to have this like weird paranoia. I'm like, is there a camera? Yeah. Just having that moment. It's like that Breaking Bad moment where he's just like looking at the camera and screaming at him. Just being like, who is watching me? No, I mean, it's just people, they drive by in their cars and you don't really like see them.
Oh, okay.
Running
I was gonna say you've got like a building full of people with binoculars who are looking at you from like way across the way.
Which makes
There's this crazy man running. Why is he running?
Because it's good exercise. I don't know what to tell you. This is also why I tend to keep my martial arts inside, not outside, because then I don't know. I've had cops pull up on us doing martial arts one time. I've never had the cops stop us doing martial arts, though. Because they were just like, what? They just kind of like looked over and were like, all right. But
as long as you're not like swinging swords at each other, they probably don't care.
Depending upon where you live, I mean, that could it could be totally. I think this is the funny thing in America. It's like the right to bear arms, where it's like, all right, well, how about the right to practice bearing arms? But that's neither here nor there. But
yeah,
cool.
We train at a park here. I mean, we do it like a couple times a year. It's not a whole lot. I want to do it more often, but I'm horrible with planning things. So it doesn't happen as often as I'd hope. But it's sometimes, you get people that walk by and they're just kind of like looking at you. But the cops have never come by. But we also don't. I don't do weapon work out in the park. Well, we did once. When did we do? Well, that was for a demo, though. I think we did that for a demo.
Also, if you're making it really obvious you're doing martial arts, they tend to know.
Yeah.
I remember one time we did fairly full contact sparring. Not full contact, but we did fairly high contact sparring when I was like 20. No, I think I was still 19 at the time, and I had like 2 guys with me who I was like working with, and one of them begged me to do sparring, and the other one was just like kind of like tall and like strong and oddly impervious for like not having like done much training at all. Like the guy did the most he ever did in terms of like any sort of sports was just biking, but just like built like a house. And
Yeah.
so I remember doing the sparring out there, and then just kind of got finished, and we went back to the car, and it's like, oh my god, we're so lucky the cops didn't come. Because the one guy um, just was not prepared for the type of raise in like adrenaline and cardiovascularism that happens in sparring. Even light
Yeah.
sparring, even just regular, which was my fault entirely as a teacher. But he was just not ready. So he just literally got to the point where he was like, ah! And the other guy was just like, whatever. And I was like, give me that helmet. And just pop, 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 pop. And I just went one round, and the other guy was like, what? And I hadn't really sparred in a while. But yeah. Don't kids, lesson of the week, don't do sparring in a park. Don't do weapons.
Yeah.
Don't do weapons in a park.
Don't do weapons
Well,
in
do
the
weapons.
park. Don't spar in the park.
Yeah, don't try to hit people in the park. Make it look really obvious. Wear all of your gi. If you don't wear a gi, buy one.
Even if you wear like, you know, because sometimes when we train in the park, we don't wear the full dobok. We wear the pants and then like a match. You know, we have our well within martial arts T-shirts, whatever. We all match. So like people, if you look at you see a group of people, kicking around at each other, it's easy to say, they're doing martial arts. Like they're a group.
Yeah, but that does make me kind of curious as to like kind of recent days, militia groups and stuff. Where how far is that going to be taken? Where it's like someone's not going to mistake that.
What?
Like, oh god, no! It's the martial arts antifada or something like that.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm just saying that as kind of an observation on recent days, where it's like, yeah, maybe like 5 years ago we wouldn't really have that issue, but
no.
Occupy Dojo or something like that.
There's always that. There's always that desire to be a part of some underground movement, right? And so like the dojo could be the headquarters for
I'm going to stop you right there.
Rebel Alliance. The Rebel Alliance.
Don't
We have to get the plans to the Death Star. Sorry.
Yeah, well. Yeah, and then badly cut a poorly put together prequel movie that no one wanted. Anyway, I know. Not talking about that's going to even get us worse. It's going to get us in the Star Wars people's list. It won't get us on the FBI's list at all.
I love Star Wars.
They probably cross over at this point. Disney owns half the government. Someone's tuning in right now. They're like, "What are these guys? They're not talking about martial arts. They're talking about."
Yeah, we are not on topic.
No, we're not. So, my fault entirely. But so one thing I want to talk about, because today I am going through my reason for journeying to get a Joe or materials to make a Joe, which I need to do later today at some point, is because I have on my time I'm going to be participating in a larger Zoom seminar, and my time is going to be like 10 to like 2 or 3 or 4 in the morning. And I want to know, how late have you ever trained? Not early. How late have you ever trained?
So I am a late night person. So I train more late at night than I do in the morning. I hate mornings. They're the worst. So I would rather train until 2 a.m. than get up at 6 a.m. and train. And so I go to sleep every night, probably at about 1 in the morning, all the time. And so once everybody goes to sleep, that's when I get all my work done. So when I do, if I have like right now, I've got some calligraphy and some chops I have to do, and I've got some certificates I have to work on. So like that's my time to work on it. So that is part of my martial training. Calligraphy is part of my martial training, and then I do qigong at night, Qigong for me, really, I know a lot of times Qigong can be energizing, and it's good for people in the morning. And I do it in the morning, but if I do it slightly different at night, it helps me fall asleep. And I'll do hyung, I'll do forms at night. Just kind of, I love doing Tai Chi at night. I'll go outside and I'll do it, you know, when with the moon or, you know, whatever, like, you know,
That is kind of the
tree hugger type of way. Yeah, I do it. Yeah, I love training outside at night. It is my absolute favorite time to do Tai Chi is at night outside.
That brings back like memories when I was much younger, and you know, when I lived in a house, and we had a backyard, and once everyone was like, you know, asleep and stuff like that, I go out, and then it would be like the dead of winter, and even though it
Yeah.
wasn't like it was like frost on the ground, it wasn't snow, and like the moon would be out, and it probably wasn't that late, but it was still like just like grab like my Aranista, do my forms, and just like do that in like the outside in the backyard at like 11 or 12 at night, and just wearing a t-shirt and like, and that those are some like the best times I had training, um, alone. I've also had like times where, I remember one time this guy just kind of a little too much into martial arts, if you know what I mean, like just way too into it. He stayed up for like 72 hours training for
That's about
whatever reason.
Yeah.
But he was like, "Let's stay up. Let's do this. 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 Let's do this." We were up till like 3. We started training at 6 a.m. It was a seminar, so it was like we were training all day, and then we just kind of kept training.
Yeah.
Those are fun times where it's like, you know, you're tired. You know, there's going to be a deficit at some point, but you already started, so you can't stop.
That's every time I am with my teacher. Like, you know, if we have a seminar at, you know, 8 in the morning, or dawn testings at 8 in the morning or whatever, we're trained all day. We'll be up at 1 o'clock in the morning in the hotel room, and we're still training. Like, we're still, and it's nonstop. It's nonstop. And eventually I'm just kind of like, how did I have to go to sleep? But you don't want to, you know, but it's that late night. Yeah. That moment. Yeah. That's my favorite. That is my absolute favorite. And anybody who's watching, who knows my teacher, who has been up late in the hotel rooms with us, knows how it's like a what do you call it, the Energizer, you know, bunny. This you know, when he just goes, he will not stop.
that kind of magic that happens when, like, you know, you only have X amount of time with certain people, and like it just feels like everyone talks about like making time, but like you create time.
Yeah.
Right. You create that space, that kind of weird space where it's like everything else is quieted and we're pushed into the background. Like, this is in the foreground, and very much so until your time's over. And I mean, I wish I could. I miss those days. Really do. It's kind of one of those things where I hope, you know, maybe over Zoom it will be cool. But like, that's just never gonna happen. You're never gonna get that in that way. Without.
No, it's a special thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I'm hoping next month I'm going to go up and visit my teacher. It'll be the first time in over a year since I've seen my teacher because of the pandemic. And I'm very much looking forward to it. But I know that it's going to be intense, I'm sure. But I'm looking forward to that. Very, very much looking forward to that.
Cool. Yeah, I haven't worked with a Joe. I had a Joe where I lived prior, but I couldn't take those kind of larger weapons with me, so I had to leave
Yeah.
them back where I just kind of was like, and you're binned. But that's kind of the
Yeah.
nice thing too, where I don't have to be like, well, I spent, it's the cost-effective thing where it's like, well, I spent $80 on this. I spent $50 on the transportation and then boxing it up and then trying to send it somewhere. Da 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 da.
Yep.
Da. So
True.
kind of glad I can kind of do that and be like, here's a stick. Have that. Here's a hammer. Why do you have a hammer? Why do you have a large hammer? Don't worry about it. Use it to get
That's right.
strong.
Yeah. Hold like this. Yes. Good.
Okay. See you later.
Yeah, exactly. What
I
time
don't know,
does your seminar start?
So from on my end, right now it's 8, where it's 9:30 a.m. my time. The seminar will start at 10 p.m. for me. So
Gotcha.
in the middle of the day, I'm going to try to take a little nap.
Nice.
And then have a meeting, and then do some work, and then do this. So, but that's a different
Cool.
thing for a different time. The guy in the place and the thing, the guy with the problem, don't
Yeah,
let
yeah.
take care of it. So
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going
this
to
is
be
our
up.
Mafia lingo corner time for post.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I
The
may
crime
be
family.
sleeping. I may be
What?
sleeping.
That's okay. That's okay. Give
We'll
me a
see.
list of Give me a list of things you like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Hey,
Cool.
John,
What?
I'm going to put you, listen, I'm going to give you a baseball bat. When you go in, I want you to make sure that you know what color the carpets are. You know what I mean?
I hear you paint houses. All I was now was another dojo owner.
That's right.
So what's on deck for this week's training? Or
To be honest, I don't know. I think I'm gonna figure that out tomorrow. I've got a couple people testing tomorrow. Just some color belt testings, and once that's done, once I see where everybody is, then I'll decide what to do next week. I think that's my plan.
Cool. Very cool. I'm gonna try to just keep up what I've been doing this week, and then hopefully use whatever kind of gets covered today, or over the next month. I'm gonna try to take the night and then try to see what I can glean from that and apply it to what I'm already doing. So
Yeah.
and then maybe once we start seeing more vaccinations go, kind of venture out and talk to other martial artists around where I am, and start being like, hey, nice to meet you. Let's punch each other in the face now.
Yay! Become instant friends.
Yeah. I think that's how most people should do it. Right? Cool.
Very much so. I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, I think it's it is weirdly the most peaceful way of having a relationship with somebody.
Yeah.
Because you only have so far of a bridge with like people you don't do that with, but the people you do that with, you have a much closer bridge.
Yes, indeed.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I get that completely. I think that there's something to be said about that too. Like if you play sports on a team, like you get close because you do end up hitting each other. You do end up pushing each other beyond your limits, and it melds you guys together, right? So teamwork does that. So karate training, martial arts training does that because we all kind of are in this weird boat together where we're constantly smashing each other, and we enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like it's very it's like my students sometimes they'll be sparring or they'll be doing some drill, and one person will get a really good movement or a really good hit or whatever, and they'll get punched in the face or whatever. They'll go, "Oh, that was awesome!" Good job. Like that was a great. That doesn't exist in everyday life.
No, it doesn't. But it's like kind of like, and then like the next day, it's like maybe you got a China or something, and like some people are like, "Are you okay?" No, don't worry about it. Like
oh no, it was great. Let me tell you about it.
In any other instance, this would be like call for alarm, but
right.
It's just great. Right. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, bruises on the arm, bruise. No, I'm fine. I just do martial arts. This is. You should see the other guy.
Use resistant. Cool.
Oh.
Cool. Yeah, I look forward to the day when I get to start doing that again.
How is travel and vaccinations and everything in Okinawa and in your area?
Well, in my area right now, right now we technically do have vaccinations happening. We actually had a warning about because there's like people like trying to scam about it and like trying to like get money for it, and they were like, "No, this is free. No one will call you and tell you pay for it and you'll get it. It's just slow. That's all, and a lot of that has to do with just ability to natively create it rather than import it. And the problem is most, if not all of it's being imported. So, I think we'll get there. We're probably not going to get it to the States for a little while, but I will only say we have the Olympics to hold accountable for that to a degree. Because there's a lot of focus on that, and there hasn't been a lot of focus on what's going on with this in terms of getting a lot of like news, like hay has been made about it, and karate's in the Olympics, hooray! But let's get everybody, what are the normal karateka who want to be on the floor with each other, who want to be training, not just the quote unquote Olympic style athlete version of it.
Yeah.
But just like schlubs like me, like who want to just go walk into a dojo, it's kind of a risk. So
yeah.
But I'm not gonna start laying blame on anybody or saying anything like that. But it's just it needs to get faster. But I think everybody has that same feeling. So that's as much as that I'm gonna say about that.
Yeah, priorities are where people put them. Well,
yes, they are.
Yeah, that's some sage advice for you right there. If you have priorities, you will put those things first. Yeah. Yeah, no, but I get you. I think that karate, martial arts gyms are just not high on that list.
Yeah.
Or, whatever.
But okay. Thankfully, a lot of places. What's going to be interesting is when other places start outpacing other places and seeing, because there's a lot of people I've talked to, like, I want to go to Okinawa, 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 I want to go to Japan. And what once was like, come on, you live in a place where people are denying the efficacy of masks. Now it's to the point where it's like, now you live in a place where everyone's been vaccinated. At what point do border restrictions at what point is it your fault that there are border restrictions and not another country's fault? So, but that only goes so far as like what people are willing to do and like how far people have stuff. So, not commenting one way or the other. So,
right. Cool. Yeah, but I get you.
You want to kind of cap it there, or do you want to talk about anything else?
Oh no, I'm good. I think that overall, I had a good week. My week's not 100% over. I've got tomorrow. After tomorrow, I'll have a good idea of what my next week will look like. But I feel good about this week. I'm glad that you got some training in, and you're going to get some more training in. That makes me happy.
I think the biggest thing for me was like, I knew how to start it. I knew how to get into it. I kind of like mentally was able to do that, and I created a pathway through like doing meditation, and it is like stretching. It's mental stretching, and if you forget to stretch, you're gonna feel it later. And if you forget to meditate, meditation, shemeditation, as a lot of people say. Nah, if you
Yeah.
forget to do that, if you forget to have that 2 seconds of just, or 5
Yeah.
minutes, or 2 minutes, or whatever, how long of just,
Yeah.
and not clearing this, morning, afternoon, evening, night, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It'll be harder, and you'll feel it later.
Yeah.
So
I agree with you. I do.
probably should have gotten that more in the stream, but I think I'll have probably more to say about that at another time. Cool.
Well, we could talk about it more next week.
Yep. And I think next week we might, in fact, have a couple things going on. So we'll see about that. But until then, folks, thanks for tuning in. Stay healthy, stay masked, stay warm, stay cool if you're down in the. No. Stay cool up here in the northern hemisphere. Stay warm down in the southern hemisphere. Our friend Tuari was chopping wood a lot to keep warm.
Tuari.
Yeah,
it's hot here, man. It's hot here. It's already getting into the 90s.
We're on rainy season, so it's rainy season watch. So I'm hoping that it doesn't get rained out too much, so we can actually do some more running without fear of poisonous snakes. But
yes,
chopping wood, rain, or fear of poisonous snakes aside, folks, have a wonderful